You know, I was surprised you didn't put up more of a fight or a fight at all about this one.
No, really?
Yeah.
That surprised you?
A little bit.
What did you think I was gonna think? It was too like
Soft.
yeah.
When you're like, no, I love it. I was like, nice.
No, man, I'm here
I think
for
this
it.
will be a good conversation.
Yeah, me too. I'm here for it. I'm good for it. All right.
You look like your shit's gonna fall off. Looks a little not as sturdy. See?
Fuck, I bet you Mel was fucking with it. She was coloring over here earlier.
She's like, a microphone. Yeah, of course, Theo always has to fuck with my microphone is in the office.
Thank you. There we go.
Jerking that thing around.
I'm just really making sure I got my form down.
Right.
All right. You want to kick it off? Want me to kick it off? What we got?
Yeah, why don't you kick it off?
Kick it off? All right. So we'll be coming in the week after. So next week. This is next week's.
Yep, next Wednesday.
All right. Good. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. We have a great episode on deck for you guys today. BG thought that I was going to turn this topic down. I just learned.
Yeah.
But in reality, I thought it was a great topic. And we're talking about the power of love.
Ooh, spicy.
So you thought I was going to turn it down because you thought I was going to think it's too soft.
Yeah, you know, I thought that you would maybe assume that we wouldn't have a very powerful conversation, maybe?
I can see that. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a delicate subject, if you will.
Yeah.
But when you said it, I had like two immediate thoughts. So I was like, all right, I can roll with this.
Yeah.
So I'm good to go.
And I thought I was gonna have to sell you more. But what was funny is the first thing that I kind of said to you is we oftentimes will say what we love and cherish about someone when they've passed,
Yeah.
like at their funeral.
Yep.
When it should be said when they're still with us.
For sure.
And as soon as I said that to you, you're like, love it, let's do it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely relevant for me right now with that specific subject or that point you just made. So I'm excited to kind of get into it. For sure. So when you hear the word love, right? Let's get right into it now.
Yeah.
What is it? What does that word mean for you? That's a powerful word, man.
It's a very powerful word.
I remember in JFK having to get asked that sometimes. Like, oh, do you love her?
Oh,
Remember those
do you
days?
like her?
Or,
Circle one,
right?
no.
Circle yes, no, or maybe.
And then they would,
The little football.
Yeah, dude, I could never do that.
No?
I'm just fold it and give it back.
Circle yes, no, or maybe on that bitch and give it back.
Burn it. Just kidding.
So what does love mean to you, my guy?
For me, I would say it's judgment free. It means you feel complete.
Yep.
And you're able to there's like a wholesomeness behind it.
I like that.
You know?
I like that.
And where you are always you're always thinking about them. And at sometimes the sacrifice of your own needs, which of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of what sticks out to me for love. You also, you're understanding, you're supporting them to be their best self.
Yeah.
And it's a bond between people that no matter how rough the seas will be, you'll always be each other's life preserver.
Yeah. And that goes without saying too.
Yeah.
Like that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like what's understood doesn't need to be said.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, man. Like when I heard that, and when you said to me that, the other day when we were talking about it, and you broached the subject on it, I was like, all right, well, there was a podcast recently, maybe not recently, but Ed Milet had Rainn Wilson on. Rainn Wilson kind of did a little circuit for a little while. He was on a lot of our podcasts.
Yeah.
It was a book, and he touched on faith in the conversations that he was having. And this one specifically, he was talking about how he views faith and what he believes in. And he talked about love, and he expressed that he views God, or the higher power, if you will, as love. It's not so much a person to him, or it's not so much a singular being. It's love. God is love.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a hard time. I'm not a man of faith. I know we've had conversations privately about a lot of stuff. But the way he expressed how he felt love worked in the universe, and made the correlation in his faith and compared it to what people perceive God as, I thought was very interesting. And it almost made me feel like that's exactly what I've been trying to think for myself for so long. Because I don't see it as a singular person. I don't see it as just one being. So what do I see it as? But I know it's something. And when he expressed that it was love, and that love is the energy you're passing back and forth, and when you need to rely on something, people rely on their faith, but faith can be love. And like the way he expressed it all was well spoken, and it kind of really hammered home for me really what I truly believe in then. So what the word love, when I hear the word love and what I think it means, to me it means the highest level of energy that is physically possible to be put out there is love.
That's pretty cool.
The highest magnetic field you can create is with love. And if you put that out there, again, like any energy level, to me, it comes back to you. You attract that back to you. So that's kind of what I thought of when I heard the word love.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a unique way of looking at it.
Yeah, because it's a unique word to me, and I think it's more than I think meets the eye. When people hear the word love, I think we don't put enough thought into it.
Yeah.
Personally.
You know what's cool too about this as well is this is showing that you keep an open mind
Yeah.
when you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
And you're able to see other people's perspective as such,
Yeah.
as love, to where it helps you almost articulate what you feel love is.
Telling you,
It almost helps you define it. You're like, wow, that's exactly how I feel. It was just, he did a very good job of elaborating it.
Yeah, I never would have made that connection if I never heard that. And I still would have been searching for, like, well, what do I believe in? As far as like a higher being or power or whatever that word, what do I feel? And that's exactly what it was. So yeah, it's but like I said though, I think it's something that we make it too black and white of a word.
Yeah.
Personally, like, you agree with that? Like, I feel like love is just kind of like it's seen as something that is black and white, and people don't create enough gray in the word for themselves.
I feel like the word love equals happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that necessarily is the case.
Yeah.
Because in my personal opinion, I think you as a person control your happiness.
Yeah.
Now, love is, to me, it's a feeling and emotion that you have for, other people.
Mm-hmm.
You could have it for yourself as well, self-love.
Yep.
But happiness is something you control. And I think where you get into a sticky situation is if you're expecting someone you love to make you happy all the time. And that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Happiness is dictated by you,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where relationships can get into trouble, is when you have someone that you really love, but yet you may be in a dark place to where you're just not happy, but you're taking it out on them because you're like, why aren't you making me happy?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. That's not how happiness works.
Right.
Happiness is an emotion that you create,
Mm-hmm.
by your thoughts and your opinions.
Yeah. Yep. So do you think then in turn that love can solely be created by you, or do you think that other people can provide you ways to have love in your life? Like, is love solely on you, or can love come from a source somewhere else outside of yourself? Do you think? Like, because you hear like, oh, not everyone's capable of love or some bullshit, right?
I typically think that normally comes with like there's some sort of traumatic experience that
Yeah.
has occurred with them.
Right.
So it's almost like they have a disdain for love.
Yeah.
They don't understand what it truly means.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, my definition of love has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you ask me what it was like when I was like in my teens and early 20s, it's very different from what it is now
Yeah.
because I was with the wrong person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And so now that I'm actually with the right person, I truly understand what love is and how two people can show you what love is, or how a person can show you what it means to be loved and outwardly show it. And I think that, does that kind of answer your question?
It does, yeah, it does. And I think also too, we have, as you get older, because I like the way you made that point. I think with maturity comes a better understanding of love.
Yeah.
And with life experience comes more understanding of love, right? Because, you know, in when all that's unfolding, you're becoming more comfortable and understanding yourself better.
Yeah.
Which is then letting you be more expressive in love.
Yeah.
Both to yourself and to others. I think you're more free and more willing to express it.
Yeah.
Than you would be when you're younger. I think oftentimes we can see expressing love as a weakness when we're younger. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But I think that's a real thing, though.
Let me ask you this about love. If people are in a relationship and they say they're in love, but yet one person may not be able to be themselves. Like they almost feel, you could call it a controlling relationship,
Mm-hmm.
but they almost feel like they can't be themselves around their partner.
Yeah.
Do you think that still could be love or no?
I think there could be. I think there could be levels maybe to love, but that's not full love then, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like you have to be willing to be 100% pure in order to love someone like that. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be you.
Yeah.
You know, and that could take time. Like you could love someone and then still uncover things about them as time goes on, right? But that just adds to it at that point.
Yeah.
But I think when you're, say, like in a controlling relationship, or you're reserved, or you're withholding,
not openly communicating.
Exactly. Like that's keeping you at the lowest level of, that's like the entry level of love, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to really unlock that and to fully enhance what that word is in that relationship, you got to fully be able to be yourself and accept others as them full selves too.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that actually rolls into kind of like our next kind of question is, what does love feel like? You know, when we were talking about it before, definition, I feel like it's freedom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the best way, in my opinion, you can classify love. It's an emotion of just feeling free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a relief off your shoulders to where you can be your true self, even when you have good or bad days. You know, unfortunately, lost one of my college buddies from cancer recently. I came home, told Val, and right away she like came over and gave me a hug.
Yeah.
You know, and I started like cry a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was okay expressing those emotions because I know she's not going to judge me. She knows that I'm like sad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's important to show your full self.
For sure.
And that's what it feels like, man. To me, it's freedom.
Yeah, and that's really well put. I think also what it feels like a lot of times is a level of acceptance too, which is hard, that you don't get from everybody a lot of times. You know, you have the ability to let every single one of your guards down.
Yeah.
And really feel like you have every avenue to express every thought.
Yeah.
And to understand there's going to be, like you said, no judgment on stuff. And when I say acceptance, though, I mean it in the sense of like they're going to embrace your thoughts as their own. and to consider them like they're their own. That's what love is.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. So
let me ask you, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you.
Okay.
Do you feel, okay, we just talked about what love feels like,
Yeah.
right? What does love feel like when you compare your love for Danny compared to your love for your kids?
Ooh, man, that's a really wild question.
Right.
Man. So the love for my kids, you know what, man, this kind of, our next talking point here is how you express love to someone. So I'm going to kind of tie this into one here, okay?
Like that.
Because I was thinking about this earlier. My love for my kids is I express through complete availability.
Love that.
And I was thinking about this. I saw a really cool video on our IG a while back, and it was about, it looked like a little girl was doing a concert or a play or something at a school, and so she's up there with all her classmates, and the person who's recording, I'm assuming the parent, is recording her daughter or their daughter, and you can see her looking around. She's trying to find mom and dad, and she can't. And she, at a certain point, you can tell she almost thinks that they're not there, and becomes very discouraged. And her whole demeanor changes, and she, they're not like trying to get her attention. She's kind of just going through it. And then she kind of just picks her head up, and all of a sudden, like 10 seconds later, she sees them, and her whole demeanor changed. And you could see her gushing at that point with just love, right? And I'm like, man, like, the caption was just like, the simple act of being available, and being present, and I was like, shit, that's it, and that's it for like my kids. Will forever be available for them. I will not miss anything. Like their priority one. They need to see that I'm their support system. I am available for them at all times. So like that's how I view and express love to my kids. Obviously in many other ways, but like I view that as priority almost one, really. With Danny, I think love is a little different because we can express things through communication that I can't express with my kids. You know what I mean?
Good point. Yeah.
So communication levels, I think, as our relationship grows and as I grow as a person, that's where I can feel love really expanding in our relationship is through our communication a lot of times. What about you?
For the kids, I would say
that's a really good question.
All right, thank you. For the boys, it's almost like a piece of my heart was missing that I didn't know was missing.
Yeah.
And they filled it. Val, like I love her completely. There's not anything that I wouldn't do. But like you said, you can have conversations. You could outwardly show it by whether it be flowers, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Just have a great conversation. But with kids, with the boys, it's a different way of showing them how much you love them.
Yeah.
And for me, it's, like you said, man, when I bring the boys to the park, I'm so in tune with my phone now, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice that now when I go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking to see if parents are on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're always on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's no knock on that, but it's like when your time has come, you always want more time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we oftentimes don't truly value the time with our kids when we rather would just scroll on social media or pick up our phones or do something, when you could take a shit and you could do it then.
Right.
And with my boys, man, it's like you said, be available.
That's it.
They don't say, Daddy, look at me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm already looking at them.
The greatest relationship you'll ever have is with your kids.
Yeah.
The single greatest relationship ever will be with them. It's all they want is your time.
Yeah.
And so when they say daddy, 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 or mommy, mommy, mommy all day long, it's because they just want your attention and time. So, and it can be hard sometimes. Like, listen, like we're not perfect parents by any stretch.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But like when we take time to think about it, like we are right now, That's what that is. That's their expression of love, is they want our attention, and they're going to do anything necessary to get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I put such an emphasis on availability.
Yeah.
And that's why I take great pride in never missing a thing for them.
Yeah.
And I want them to actively know that.
Yeah.
Moving forward in life, that's not going to change.
Yeah.
So,
and your girls are at age 2 where they know they can depend on you.
For sure.
Which is cool.
And you know what? What's interesting too is I mentioned the communication piece with Danny. Being able to slowly roll that out with them is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Even in really, really hard times. So
does that mean like talking to them about a tough subject?
Yeah. So this weekend we had to really have some hard conversations a few different days. So for those of you who don't know, I lost my grandmother on Monday night. It's Wednesday night now, so 48 hours ago that she passed away. And we knew it was going to be coming. It happened very fast, but Thursday I got a phone call that it was likely going to be Monday. We were in Disney, and I got the phone call, and my oldest is 7, Mill, and she caught on something was wrong when I was on the phone. And my wife tried playing it off, like, oh, it's probably something for work. And she's like, no, but he just said Jeff. And he just said Sue. Like, she's saying names that's in our family. Up. So she knew something was going on. Yeah. And she knew that my grandmother had been sick. And so she kind of was looking at me like, she was very bothered by that I was not filling her in on something. And I said, Mill, do I tell you everything that's important in life? Will I always fill you in? Will mommy always fill you in when it's important? And she said, yes. I said, then trust me when I tell you this is all I know right now. And I told her. And so she said, okay. But like Saturday, we had a call with my grandmother. And that was going to be the last time they were going to talk. And we made it very clear to them, this is it. This is the last time you're probably going to talk to 3G, just so you know. And it was hard, man. Like, we had a really, really hard Saturday.
Now, how do the girls take that? Did they understand you?
They understood.
Yeah.
What made them really upset was the fact that I was very upset. Mm-hmm. So that was a trickle-down effect. But I was, in my mind, even when I was actively very upset and can tell they were upset because of it, I still didn't want to hide that from them.
That's huge.
So I thought, even though it's hard, they have to experience this.
Yeah.
This is their first time go around with death. It's never easy, even when you're our age, it's never easy. And then again on Sunday, we had I had called my grandmother back, but we talked about it throughout the day and stuff like that. I called her after they went to bed and said my goodbyes. And then on Tuesday, which was yesterday, after school, Danny and I brought them into the kitchen before dinner, and we told them that, last night 3G passed away. And we said, do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts? What do you want to talk about right now? What's going through your mind? Like, we had a very open conversation, and Mill had some questions, Mallory had some thoughts, but those lines of communication now are opening. And I feel like that I want them to understand we're talking to you about things like this that can be hard sometimes because we love you guys and we think you deserve to know.
Yeah.
And that's evolving in our relationship now, which is really, really cool.
Now, let me ask you a question. You said that you weren't hiding how you're feeling about that situation, which I give you credit for.
Thank you.
Would you have done that in the past, or would
I would have. I would have hit it. Yeah, I definitely would have hit it. Definitely would have.
So you kind of understand the importance of you showing them, hey, this is how like a true man shows their emotions, because you understand the ripple effect that this is how a real man carries himself.
Yeah.
He's gonna be comfortable with his emotions.
Yeah, and honestly, even beyond the man part of it, I wanted them to see that both the reality of things, but also it even goes to what we're talking about. I'm not trying to make it fit here. I'm not trying to make a square peg fit to a round hole here. 3G was awesome. We loved 3G, and this is what happens when you love someone who's gone. You feel these things. These are normal emotions. You're allowed to feel these emotions as a person. It's okay.
Yeah.
So Where before I would try to hide it, even from Danny, you know, or for whoever. So
It's tough too, because like even today, like when I teared up, I still felt like myself trying to hold it in.
Yeah.
You know.
But when Val came over to you, and didn't need to say a word to you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably put her arm around you, gave you a hug, whatever like that. You felt that though.
Oh yeah.
And you felt that energy, that transfer of love.
Yeah.
And that probably put you at ease a little bit.
Yeah, comfort.
Like dude, Saturday and Sunday would not have been possible without Danny. Yeah. Because that's all she had to do, man. Like she was upset too. She lost somebody she loved too. She loved my grandmother.
Yeah.
And she's so good at compartmentalizing things and understanding, like, you might have a harder time with this showing it than I will, so let me help you.
Yeah.
And she didn't need to say a fucking word. Put her arm around me, you know, would just grab my head and like, no, like, come here. And then it was like, all right, like that was her letting me know, like, you're good, it's okay, like you can let it out.
Yeah.
And now that's her showing love. That's showing love.
I was just saying that's love right there.
You know what I mean? Like so that's what it is, man. Like sometimes love requires 0 words.
Yeah.
You know, love requires just being present. Love requires attention.
Yeah.
So that's why when you brought it up the other day, I'm like, man, I'm ready for this podcast. Yeah. Like I can feel things for this podcast. Wow. Which is cool. So
that's cool, man.
It's a good pull on you this week.
That's cool how the stars align.
Divine intervention, my guy.
Right?
Yeah. It's true.
Cool. That's cool, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man, no doubt. So we talked about a little bit of how people show love, right? We're 2 guys now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've heard the term love language. What's your love language, right?
Yeah.
My wife's love language is Mitchell salsa and Doritos. Or Tostitos, whatever they call it, and yep, canned cranberry sauce.
She's gonna go ham tomorrow.
She is. So I know that love.
If
I can come back to Starbucks, Mitchell salsa and canned cranberry sauce, your boy, that's better than any flour ever in the world. So that's her love language.
Yeah, you got some love for
right.
Sure.
So what would you say most men's love language is? Meaning, how do men like to receive love?
Okay, so this is going to be a good one for all of our female listeners out there.
We have a lot. Shout out to the ladies who listen to this podcast. We have like a 55 to 60% female audience a lot of weeks. Yes. So shout out to you ladies, man. We appreciate you guys.
Men, and I'm sure you can agree with this, we love physical touch. When you physically touch us, meaning like a hug, you kiss us, that to us is love. You know, which is huge. You would agree with that, right? I mean,
for
that's
sure.
A simple thing that
you know
like, I know you.
All right, so this is it may be weird, but like, so what I find very attractive on a female is hands, right? Yeah. Really odd.
Yeah.
But I like hands. Okay, it sounds so weird, but like that's like something that I'm like, all right. So like if I'm driving, okay, and Danny will like grab my arm with her hand.
Yeah, you pitch it a 10.
I'm not driving with my hands anymore. But it's like that is like a basic touch like that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, like
that's huge.
That's love language for me.
Yeah.
Like a little grab on the arm like that.
Yeah.
It's simple, right? Yeah. I don't know if I'm pitching a 10, but it's simple.
Hang a wet towel on it. No, yeah, I would say that, I saw this giving a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
I think maybe for some
things.
Yeah.
Because it's the thought behind it, that they're thinking of you.
Right.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
But for me, I appreciate more PDA.
Mm-hmm.
That just to me,
yeah,
as a guy, means more to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
What I also appreciate, which is kind of like my love language, is showing appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
That means so much because I mean, guys, I feel like, and again, this is just my opinion, but I think we're almost expected to do some of the things that we do,
mm-hmm.
whether it be you go to work, you take care of the lawn, you do all these things, you know. If you have a tough day, you kind of just keep it inside, right?
Yeah.
But there's something that comes with just being shown appreciated. That just means a lot. I mean, dude, Val sent me this thing on Instagram where it was just a father like playing with his kids, and it was something along the lines of where a father's job is, he had two boys, is that he's training his replacement.
Oh, I have seen something like that, yeah.
Meaning that how I treat my wife, Val, is telling my boys this is how you treat a woman.
Right.
And with me respecting my wife, with me showing them, hey, we're going to go get mommy flowers every other Friday. You're going to pick out 2 flowers, and you're going to hand them to her. And they love it.
Yeah.
And she makes a big deal of it too, because this is how you treat
right.
someone you love. This is how you treat women.
Yep.
Then when she sent me that Instagram, and she just put something like, "You're doing a great job. I love you." And I was like it made me like water up, because those words carry so much weight.
Yeah.
And we love hearing that.
Yeah.
Because I think we try so hard. We try so hard. Even when we have bad days, we still try to bring our A game.
Yeah.
Even though we may not have a lot of energy, we're still going to play with our kids.
Yeah.
We're still going to do the dishes. We're still going to do these other things.
Right.
Even when our tank is run on E.
Yeah.
And just those little words or acts of kindness, saying thank you, or just saying, hey, you know, I really appreciate you doing that. It carries so much.
For sure, man. And kind of couple with that, especially like in the past, you know, year and a half, whatever, receiving a compliment about the work we're doing is like really important to me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like I've said in the past, I feel like I'm not articulating what we're doing well enough that other people would understand it, to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so when I call her after a good meeting we've had or whatever, we have work with one of our clients and things go well, and she'll call me afterwards, or I'll call her and how did it go? I'm like, blah, blah. I go, oh, that's so awesome. Proud of you guys. Like that stuff. It's like, that gives me a lot of fulfillment when I can tell or see or hear that she's proud of me for something.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool to me. So that's changed for me. Because if you said that to me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like, yeah, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, because I'm proud of myself, and you're proud of me, like that makes it like even way better.
Yeah.
You know, so like that kind of way more. So
that's awesome.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of guys sometimes maybe don't feel like they can be appreciated, or you know, someone can be proud of them on that level, on a level of you're using your brain rather than using your brawn. You know what I mean? So like, oh, like it's more so I fixed this, or I did this yard work, or something manual labor or whatever. Like you're proud of them for that, but when you're proud of someone for using your mind, that's a huge compliment.
Especially too when you are trying to do good in the world.
Yeah.
When you're trying to have people understand that you only have one life, that you need to take care of your health, and your mind, for the people around you that depend on you.
For sure.
We're spreading that message, and we're giving them tools.
Yep.
And even if people just use one tool out of the toolbox that we give them, we're helping.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So another one here is quality time. I love this. And I know you're a huge proponent on it now. Previously we're not. Just kidding. But it's huge. You have to have date night. You got to do it. My rule of thumb is at least once a month. And you've got to put down the phone. That's a rule too. Secondly, you don't talk about the kids for at least an hour. Now it's funny, I know that you and Danny do that as well, but I was out with friends. We were out with friends on Saturday, and my buddy Tim, who ran the half marathon too, he uses it as well.
Really?
And he's like, yeah, man, first hour, can't talk about the kids.
And it's hard.
It's hard. And he said, it's hard, man. And so I'm like, what'd you talk about? He goes, finances. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. He goes, but then we also talked about vacation.
Right.
And we also talked. So it's like, it is difficult a little bit,
Yep.
a little awkward because
Yep.
it's almost like a little silence because you're like, holy shit. It almost brings awareness to, wow, all we do is literally talk about
Yeah.
the kids.
Yeah.
But then you get on a topic to where it's cool to talk about, like, hey, what do you envision about maybe when you retire or
Yeah.
you're in the beach or something? But then you start learning, like you did with Danny, about what she wants to do after she gets her doctorate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And you are giving yourselves time to understand what's important to them.
Mhm.
Because it is important to grow separately, but it's imperative to grow together.
Yeah.
And if you are not growing together, if you continue to have these bro nights or you continue to have ladies night and yet you don't have that quality time together, you are missing on a huge piece of your relationship.
1000%.
Right.
Very well said.
Now, I think we've talked about this or touched on it before on a couple podcasts, but I would like to just talk about it again. How has your relationship and marriage evolved since you guys have kind of put a focus on date night at least once a month? Now, and I say this with all respect because I know you guys did have a solid marriage.
No, of course.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And I'll answer it with a question first. So for all of our married listeners, specifically who have kids, but maybe not, right? Think about the last time you and your spouse went on a date. Like, and I think about the people in my life and I go, they haven't been out in a minute. And it's like, that's crazy. But that's how we used to be. We went like over a year one time without going on a date, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
And ladies, what may surprise you is your boys really look forward to date night.
Love it.
Dude, date night is the tits.
It
I
is.
love
It
date
is.
night, bro.
Oh, I love it.
Every date night we have, usually I buy Danny an outfit without her knowing.
Nice.
I'll get like a new outfit myself. Like I gotta make it like a thing. Like I want it to be a thing.
Kinky.
Right? You know, like a little something.
Something to look forward to.
But it is though. It is, you know. But what has changed for us is we, I think, wouldn't allow ourselves to kind of be Danielle and John and take off mom and dad hats.
Well said.
And
was there a guilt part of it? Is that why you don't?
Yeah, man, dude, I still have a really hard time with it.
Yeah.
Like specifically, like putting like someone else putting my kids to bed. That's to this day, I have a very hard time doing that.
Why is that?
I trick myself into thinking they need me for that, and because they're so routine oriented, I don't want them to give someone else a hard time about it. And I gotta let that go. You know, like I really don't think we've been overnight somewhere without them, both Danny and I.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we haven't done. So
2024, man, you should challenge yourself to do it.
Right, like go away. Well, it's gonna be our 10 year in 2024.
Well, I think
so. We are going away.
Should.
We are going away.
Nice.
I don't know where yet, but we're going away, and
Nice.
the girls will be left home alone for a few days now. But yeah, we had a hard time removing those mom and dad hats and just being John and Danny.
Yeah.
And the first time you do that, it's like a first date.
Yeah.
Shit's weird.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
It is, but it's so cool, man. Like, and I really, really look forward to it when you say once a month and shit happens. It's not once a month, right? I think the last time we went was I wanted September for the Big E.
Yeah. Well, you gotta get caught up.
So we're due. We're due. And it's hard.
Especially at the holidays.
Holiday stuff, it's hard, right? Yeah. But like we'll definitely get some time in before Christmas for sure. But yeah, it's like I said, imperative. You don't forget you are a couple who is in love. Yeah. You're not just mom and dad. Yeah. You know,
100%.
I think that's what's different.
And I do want to say this because I know we touched on men's love language. This is for all the guys out there. You have to outwardly show and express your love to your spouse as well. Yeah. Don't get caught up in the amount of years that you've been married. You still have to put in effort, meaning, hey, do something, whether it be a note, flowers, book a babysitter. You have to continue to show them that you appreciate them, because what will happen is you no longer will be living with with your spouse, you'll be living with your roommate, because you'll start to lose that spark, if you will. And a good thing is like, okay, and I'm gonna go there, but when was the last time you guys had sex?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you guys aren't trying, that's sometimes the first thing that may go, is the sex, and people don't put enough weight on that. That's a big issue. Intimacy is huge. Intimacy equals connection.
Yeah.
And it's not just, oh, let me blow my load. Sorry, that was a little too much. Sorry. My bad. But it's more than that. And understand that women may not just want that. They may want to get a massage together, a couple's massage, or go to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you doing these small acts of kindness to show them how much you do care and value your marriage, it will get them to be like, oh my God, he cares so much. And it will most likely lead to sex.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, right? Because I saw a thing one time, and I was reading about it, where it said that, like, it was essentially the topic of the article, or whatever it was about like what leads to intimacy, and what are key contributing factors that lead to intimacy for men and for women, and what made women search for and want intimacy with their partners was having deep conversations consistently.
I love that.
And that made them feel more attracted to their partner, whereas men can be more physical beings in that sense, and they express love through the physical act of sex. And but it's seen as just being like a dumb guy, but that's just kind of how like guys think, right? I mean, this isn't just sex, like we're showing our love through this. But women, we get there by having all those conversations, and that's what they find attractive and desirable. And guys often will skip that part. And think that women will understand, I'm showing love physically, you should see that. So it's interesting. So that quality time, those conversations, those date nights. If you're a guy and you're thinking we don't have sex enough, like whatever it is, and you're a girl, and you're thinking we're missing out on that part of our relationship, date night is the magic elixir to all that stuff, man. Like, it fixes all that shit.
Yeah, it's true. And I would say this too. I remember one of the happiest times that I've seen Val is when I actually did her laundry.
Hold on. You guys do separate laundry?
Yes.
You wash your clothes and she washes her clothes?
You don't understand how much laundry that woman is capable of.
Are you serious?
It's insane how long she waits to do laundry. She may wait 2.5 weeks and she'll have just a mound of laundry. I do laundry at least once a week. Yeah, dude, it's insanity.
Who does the boys' laundry?
I'll normally do the boys' laundry.
Okay.
And then she'll put it away because that's the worst part.
I hate laundry.
Yeah, right, that's the worst. So I do the easy part, but yeah, like, and I bring that up because that was a simple act where it showed her that I know that she that she hates doing laundry, that she'll procrastinate with it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it getting large, and I'll do her solid, and she absolutely fucking loved it. And that's just cooking dinner, something that that would it would be a relief to them. You've got to be more, guys, you have to be more intentional about showing your appreciation in ways that they would appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Not how you would perceive it, how they would, right?
Yeah.
So the last thing here that I think is important we talk about is the societal perception of love and what that can heal in our society, right?
Yeah.
So we pose the question, do we feel like if people were more apt to express love regularly, could that take away or diminish the divisiveness that we have as people in general? Everything seems to divide us. We're often, people use the word triggered or whatever, but we're often affected by things and take things very personally. If we express love more regularly or more intentional,
Yeah.
do you think that would solve a lot of the divisiveness?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, without a doubt, especially just given how we are, where, we're two positive, optimistic people.
Mhm.
We support people. We tend to keep an open mind, which is judgment free. I don't give a shit what political party you support. If you're a nice person, I got your back,
Mhm.
And for me, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I heard on a podcast, so take this with a grain of salt. But they said something along the lines of how hate is climbing up there in one of the most commonly used words. And you should really take a check in how often do you use that word hate. And it could be something, oh, I hate this condiment. I hate what this person said or something. And we don't put enough focus on not just saying, hey, I love you, but expressing it, because I feel like it will soften your reaction.
Mm-hmm.
When you say hate, I feel like it comes with such powerful emotions internally. But when you say the word love, I mean, when I say love, it just softens everything.
Yeah.
And almost like it's compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can't question someone else's intention because you're not them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are more focused on, hey, I'm just going to, I have this word I have this thought now. It's where if someone asks me, what's your advice for someone that maybe is in their 20s or 30s or something, or even now, I would say overuse the word I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because time is valuable. Men don't say I love you to other men because they may think that's, oh, you're weak or something. But man, there's something strong when you say, man, I love you.
For sure.
And it's powerful. It's showing, hey, you mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
But also I say it more frequently to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I say it every single day to Val, to my boys.
Yeah.
I make it a point. And man, it's just, if you could just be more intentional and focused on outwardly showing love, it's infectious.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think for me, when I was thinking about this question, was it kind of bleeds into what you were saying. I'm not sure everyone is capable of expressing love to an extent that it could cure divisiveness, if you will. I don't think people are comfortable enough to do that. People oftentimes show love in various ways, and it may not be in an outward expressive way. Yeah. It could just be showing up and being present, and that's a form of love. So I think love isn't a cure-all. I think it's a cure-all for individuals. I think if you can love yourself and you can be comfortable in expressing love, then your general energy level, vibe, happiness, that's all going to be elevated. But I'm not sure that that's a reality in our world.
Yeah.
Where everyone can just be expressive and showing love, and that will at any point diminish the divisiveness we have.
No, I think you're spot on, because everybody has a different definition of love.
Exactly.
Especially if they grew up in a traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
Where their definition of love was, their father beating them.
Everyone has something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my viewpoint on it. But your point of the word hate, though, I think holds a lot of weight and is powerful. Yeah. Because I know in my house, my girls say hate, we correct them immediately.
Oh yeah.
And we say, you don't like that.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't hate it, you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because Danny and I really don't use that word. Like we don't have that expression really in our vernacular, where it's like, oh, I hate that. Like whatever. Especially around our girls. So
I even corrected my friends when they would, if they were like talking about someone or something.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "Oh man, don't you hate that person?" I'm like, "No, dude, I do not hate anyone in this world.
Right.
You know, I may not agree with what they're doing or something, but I do not hate anyone in this life."
Yeah, that is valuable real estate.
Yeah.
In your mind, your heart, your well-being, your all that stuff that it is not worth holding on to.
Yeah.
So
and look at Cybulski, man.
yeah,
I mean, we talked about forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. So love means what it means to you. It's every person has a way of expressing and showing their love. I think the point of today though was just trying to encourage you guys to dive a little more deeper into finding ways to express love to people around you.
Yeah. And be more intentional for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave you with this. Don't wait until it's too late to tell someone how much you love and care for them. Because when they're gone, no matter how loud you shout and cry, they won't be able to hear you anymore. And don't make someone keep waiting, even if you know they will.
Love you, my guy.
Love you too.
Have a good week, guys. We'll catch you guys on Monday for Model Mindset Monday. Dude, we rocked the house on that one, bro.
Dude, that was electric. Yeah. It's funny too.